Hey everybody, Brian Ritchie again. I'm just going to go over a couple things this week that are kind of on my mind. As you all know, if you're keeping up with grades, I just completed the week 3 grading, so that's all updated in your grade book. So if you go there, you can see all of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the things that I'm seeing, like recurring issues that I'm seeing with your grades. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the assignments for week 5 this week. This is a crucial point in this session. From this point forward, a lot of the stuff that's going to be occurring. Well, actually, last week with the midterm, but a lot of the things that are coming forward after this are this week and then moving forward are heading towards that portfolio project. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. But like I said, first I want to review a couple things really quickly so that we're all on the same page with what I'm expecting, because I'm seeing some recurring issues. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. And the first thing I'm going to look at is the APA assignment. So I graded one of them, and this is what I was looking for. I'm seeing a lot of people still have issues with this. So as you can see here, this would have been 100% on that assignment. These are three different sources that they use. So you needed to have three, or maybe it was two. It was either two or three, whatever it said on the rubric. But you needed to hit that mark. But what I'm looking for specifically is how they're written. Is I wanted this first line not indented and the other lines indented. This might be very difficult for some of you to try to figure out how to do this on your computer, because like a lot of times. So let me try to put this back. Okay, it won't even let me. Well, okay, so like this, usually what happens is our computer automatically puts stuff like this. And then when we go to indent it, sometimes what it does is it wants us to indent the whole thing. So like if I click here and I click over there, you see how it indents everything? You just got to really play with it and try to make sure it works. So I got to move that over there, then this, I got to press delete and then move that over there. And then I get back to my regular, or how I want it to look. So please do this. A lot of you are hit because you had all of these lines along the same side here. And the reason you do this is because this makes it easier for me to see where each source is. Like if everything's on the same line, it's hard for me to know when one source ends and where the next one begins. Along with that, make sure they're in alphabetical order. A couple of you had that issue. You didn't put them in alphabetical order. So just very quickly, I wanted to make sure we're on the same page with that. Let me stop sharing that part. And I am going to share the next thing. Remember what I talked about last week. I said one of the resources that you need to be using is the Bryan and Stratton APA style guide. They gave you a link to that. If you don't remember that, all you have to do to get to that, to access that, is Google Bryan and Stratton APA style guide. And what that will do, let me share my screen again, and I will show you. Actually, I'm just going to share my whole desktop. That'll make it a lot easier to go between these different documents. All right, so hopefully you're seeing that. So I have it pulled up on here. I just Googled it. See, look, right up here, and you might have to like maximize this video to see this, but I just put it in the Google Bryan and Stratton APA style guide, and I'm clicking on that first link, okay? And then there's a PDF right here where it says APA style. What is APA style? This is what they're talking about when they say go to page 20. So when I click on that, and again, just very quickly, this is what I did last week. I don't want to spend too much time on it. You scroll down to page 20, all the way down, and here it is. It's actually, is it on 20? It's on 18. All right, so here it is. This tells me about the title page, it tells me about the abstract, and it tells me about the rest of it. And along with, if I go all the way to the bottom, what that reference page is supposed to look like. And again, see how the second line for each source is indented. All right, exactly what I'm looking for here. And it gives you all, like it tells you why we're doing this, or it tells you how to do these very specifically. So if you're struggling, if you keep getting hit on this, please look at that. The second thing I wanted to look at, some of you are probably questioning why you had a lower grade on your memo assignment. A lot of these were really good. So what I did is I pulled up one that got a really good grade for most of it. This is what I was looking for, all right? And remember, we're going back to the style. All of our assignments are in some way need to be an APA style. So here, one thing they were missing, if you see all of this, they're missing their cover page, right? Their title page. I might have I might have typed and said, oh, this is, you're missing your cover letter or something. I think I did that on some people's comments. What you needed was a title page. Like if I go back to this, I needed a title page that said memo completion, something that looked like this, obviously without all these boxes. All right. But why I did pick this one in particular is because of the formatting. Look at this. If you look at this, this is perfect. This is exactly what a letter would look like if I sent it to a into a cell phone company. This would be a perfect example. They tell me the issue, they tell exactly the issue, and they give me a date on the next part. Particularly though, what I liked about this one was the memo. Again, what we're doing here is we're looking at workplace writing, and a memo is exactly that. It's a type of workplace writing. So here, if I'm sending this memo, this exact memo to somebody in my company, just think about how easy it is for them to navigate through and find what they're looking for. So if I'm looking for the indirect approach, you see how this person bolded this section and then talked about that, bolded this section and bolded this section. It's very easy for me to navigate through this memo and know what I'm looking for. This is a perfect example of what a memo should look like. All right, you're trying to get to, you remember we talked about clarity in writing, clear and concise communication. That's exactly what this is. This is very clear and it's very concise. Is it like if I was writing in a book or something where I have to be more, like it has to look a little bit more pretty or something like that? This isn't pretty, but this is very effective. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. And so this was a perfect example of that. So, but like I said, they were missing their title page and then the reference here. See, so here you can see where there's a little bit of an issue with the line situation going on. Like this one's perfect right here. I can't click on it, but this first one's perfect. Then these next two need a little bit of help. All right. So that's what I was looking for those assignments, okay? So if you go through and you're like, why did I get a bad grade on this? Or why did I get knocked off on this? Go back and see if you did the APA style and all of those things efficiently. Along with that, make sure you're reading the directions. I think a lot of you probably would have included a title page. It's super easy. All you got to do is write the title and then all that little information below it. But you probably didn't read the directions clearly. Hopefully that's what the issue was, because I on the last part of the rubric, it says, are they missing a title page? And if you were, I had to knock you a bit for it. Okay, so moving on. So for week 5, here are the things you have to do. There are some important things on this, but I think for this week, it's a lot easier than your last week. This week 4, where you had your midterm and you had a couple other things to do, that's kind of a busy week. This week, we're kind of slowing down a bit because it doesn't mean that you don't have things to do. What that means is that we're slowing down so that you can get some of that writing started, okay? So if we look at this, the reflection is easy. Everybody's reflection, like when I went through and looked at those, they were all good. And I noticed a lot of you were really enthusiastic about the videos that I'm posting. So that's why, again, I'm posting. And some of you had questions. Hopefully I emailed you if you did have a question. If you have a question for me, please email me. So I did like the reflections. I read through those, and hopefully I'm helping you in a way that's both meaningful and impactful. So the reflection should be easy. Again, this is just read through those 2 questions and respond to them. Pretty easy A grade if you do what you need to do. So the things that I want to look at are these 2, the discussion and the rubric quiz. All right, so first I want to talk about the rubric quiz. So you might be asking, where is this rubric? Where is the rubric for this portfolio project? So where do you need to find that? So if you click back and you go to week 1, that is where the rubric is. So I will scroll down. Here it is, portfolio project directions and rubric. All right, so I click on that. It opens up the document. Here it is. I'm just going to go through this briefly. This assessment is worth 25% of your grade. So that doesn't mean just the writing portion. There are 3 parts to this. The total is 25% of your grade. All right. You can read through the course outcomes and all that. There are a few things I do want to mention. So like I said, we are here at week 5. We've already done this part right here, and you've already just submitted some of your evidence. And now you will be, I think, in between here. We're actually not on week 5. We're on, are we on week 5? The annotated bibliographer proposal. Oh yeah, for peer review. Yeah, so you're doing the peer review to this week in discussion. All right, so that's where we are right now. So yeah, so just read through here. This is the timeline. This should help you out. What I would do for the quiz is I would have this open and I would have the quiz open and I would go through. Another thing you can do to kind of help you with that quiz is if you're questioning, like, I don't know, is that something that I'm looking for? So if I press Control F, it's going to pull up a bar down here, or maybe it's up here depending on your computer, and then I could type in what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for annotated bibliography, all right, it's going to give me all instances of that. So it says 2 of 16 instances of that. So then I can scroll through and look at all the information about annotated bibliographies. All right, so that should help you too when you're trying to find information on here very quickly. Okay, so let's go through a little bit longer, or a little bit more. So the directions: create a professional communication addressed to a supervisor. So keep that in mind. These papers are not just like a research paper. It's going to be something where you're talking, kind of like pretending like you're talking to your supervisor. Okay, so keep that in mind. Well, let me just, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I just want to talk to you very, very briefly about the 3 parts of it. That's what I really wanted to do. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to that. So here is the rubric for the writing portion. And then if you go down below that, here are the 3 things that will be used to grade this. All right. So there's a reflection response. That's basically your writing. And that's graded on actually on 2 points. It's graded on workplace capabilities and reflection response. And then there's the oral presentation. The last portion of that is the annotated bibliography. So there's three parts. The annotated bibliography isn't part of this. I do want to mention this part though, the oral presentation, because it is not just a, it's not just the writing portion. You also are going to record a video on week 7 and turn that in, reflecting on this, okay? And as you can see here, one of the things that you're going to get hit on is your use of non-words like and you know, and if you watch my videos, you know that I do these. The reason that if I was going to try to focus on not doing that, I would start and then I would watch it. And if I saw myself doing that, I would redo the video. For this video, I'm not going to redo it a bunch of times, okay? So that's why you see me using that type of language, because it's something that we do in normal everyday day-to-day life. But when you have the opportunity to take a second and review your video, redo it, and things like that, you should get rid of those non-words, okay? But anyways, go through this when you take the quiz, and make sure you use that to help you. So that's in week 1 at the very bottom. So just keep that in mind. That's where you find that rubric. So let's go back up to week 5. Okay. The other thing that you're doing, so you have your lesson, your lecture, then you have that portfolio project review quiz. I think it should be easy for all of you. The reflection piece, again, super easy, not a lot of work. The only other thing is the peer review of your project. So let me look at that. So this is going to take me to discussion. It's now Sunday. As you can see, I just posted this. This is for this week. And it says, please read before you peer review. So I'm going to click on that. And I just gave a little bit about it. And then here's what I want you to read through: these peer critiquing strategies. 2 things about the peer reviews: you need to be respectful and you need to be thorough. Okay, so I don't want you to just say, oh, that sounds really good. You need to give me some sort of meaningful response to, or you need to give some sort of meaningful response to your classmates. So if I click on this, it gives you kind of a suggestion of how you can write this. Okay, so part 1, detail what works in the writing. So you can say something. This is part 1 where you say, oh, I really liked when you did this. Part 2, tell the reader what they're trying to say, because you might be completely off. Okay, so you say, oh, I really like when you did this. One of the things I noticed is your essay or your writing is really about I don't know, falls in the workplace. I think that's somebody's. And then after that, consider the quality of the argument. So you could perhaps go, so your writing is about calls in the workplace. Um, do you think it's a strong argument when you mention how people do jumping jacks um, in their rooms or something like that? And then part 4, detail other substantial issues. I also noticed that you're missing a source. Is this intentional? Or are you planning on something like that? Okay. Part 5, make suggestions for the rewrite. So, and again, these don't have to be paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. This should be 1 or 2 sentences if you want. Make suggestions for the rewrite. So something like, maybe if it would work better if you did this, something like that, and then end with a final concluding thought about the piece. Okay, so that's how you could approach this. This is not the exact way you have to, but I wanted to give you a way to do it. Along with that, you have questions to consider before writing. All right, and also up at the top, I did right here, read the piece twice. Okay, so if you read it the first time, you're like, okay, I get what this is about. Let me go ahead and write about that. And then you get to the part where like, oh, you forgot this. Maybe they didn't forget this and you just didn't see it when you first looked at it. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. All right. So I think that's everything. Let me just go back really quickly and look at my week 5. All right. Hopefully. All right. I think that is everything. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Email me, something like that. I was in discussion this week. Again, I hit about, I think, half of you, maybe a little bit less than half. I think it was about, I don't know. Anyways, but I am, again, I'm trying to work and get get in touch with all of you every week. If I don't mention something, or if I don't reach you and you have a question, please reach out to me. Let me know what it is so we can get through this together. Like I said, we're ramping up. We're getting to the end. We have about 2.5 weeks left after this week. So we're going to get there together. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.